Hey guys! So I said a few months ago that I was going to make a vlog about my trip to Disney World in Orlando, Florida. And also, while I was there, I went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So I'm finally getting around to doing that, 7 months later. I know, it's terrible. I'm really, really bad at vlogging. So I just thought I would tell you some of the stuff, maybe some funny stories, just kind of my experience as the first time that I ever went to Disney World. Okay, so I have always been a big Disney fan since I was a little girl. And the thing is, I had never been to Disney World or Disneyland or any kind of Disney theme park. So growing up, we didn't have a lot of money at my house. We were doing well if we could take a trip to the beach or to Six Flags or something like that. Something kind of smaller than Disney World. So I never got to go as a little girl, and I always wanted to go. I had friends that went, and they would come back and they'd talk about how awesome Disney World was, and I just never got to go. So finally, 31 years old, I get to go to Disney World. So the thing is, Kevin, where he works, he gets to go to conferences occasionally, and there was one in Orlando, and he actually had to choose between two different conferences, and one of them was in Colorado and the other was in Orlando. And he kind of wanted to go to the Colorado one, but he asked me because I normally go with him on his conferences, and because it's kind of like a vacation for me. And he asked me which one I would rather go to. So of course I jumped on the Orlando one because it was going to be at Disney World, and I wanted to go to Disney World. So yeah, we planned the trip. And I did a lot of exploring the Disney World website because I like to know a lot about the place that I'm going. I mean, I researched New York, like cool places, cool things to do in New York for like a month or two before we actually took our trip to New York. So I like to really research things, places that I'm gonna visit, so that I'll have plenty of things to do while I'm there. And I make an itinerary, and it's usually like pages long, and Kevin's like, there's no way we're going to be able to do all that stuff. But I do it anyway, because who knows? I may decide I don't want to go to that thing, but I want to go to this other thing, and it's already there on the itinerary, and I can go do it. So I like to have a lot of information when I go on trips. Kevin is not a big Disney fan. He's never liked Disney movies. He always complains about how they kill like the cute characters and all of this stuff. And so he's never really liked Disney, though he does like Pixar. But they were having some event at Universal Orlando that he wanted to go to called, it was called Halloween Horror Nights. And basically they had haunted houses and stuff like that, but you could still go in and you could ride some of the rides in the theme park. But so he was really excited about that, and not so much Disney. So he really only got to go to two of the Disney parks. I bought tickets for myself for all of the main parks, and he had a ticket to Epcot. So the first day, since he didn't really have a lot to do, we got there and we were starving by the time we actually took the taxi and got to our hotel. So we decided to eat in one of the restaurants in the hotel we were staying at. And oh my gosh, the food was so expensive. We just got like lasagna and a couple of sides. And I can say that they had some kind of cauliflower dish with like cheese melted on top, and it was like a casserole. It was really good. But other than that, like the lasagna tasted like Chef Boyardee or something. It wasn't really anything like special. But yeah, so we ate there and it was so expensive, and Kevin was like, this is like horrible. I hate it already. So he was not having a good time. But then he happened to look over, and there was at one of the other tables, there was a family, and it was like a wife and a husband and two children. And the two kids were kind of yakking and playing like kids do normally. And the dad was just sitting there. And Kevin saw the guy take off his glasses and just put his head in his hands. And Kevin was like, you know what? We're having a better time than that guy is. So I think it's gonna be okay. So, yeah. So once Kevin was starting to feel a little bit better about that, we decided to go on to Epcot. So we headed that way, and from our hotel, there was a ferry that took us there. So it would take you and drop you off there, and it would drop you off at one of the other parks and at some of the different hotels or some of the resorts around. So we took the ferry. The first character that I saw was Mary Poppins, because the way we were heading through the UK section of what's it called? World Showcase. Epcot is divided into two parts. There's Future World and there is World Showcase. So Future World is kind of like the rides and the cool stuff. And World Showcase is just you walk around this lagoon and there are different places for different countries. So when you start off, when you go to the entrance of the park, unless you take, like, I guess if you take the monorail from the Magic Kingdom, you don't do this. But the way that we went in, the entrance we went in, you have to go through part of World Showcase to get to Future World. And we wanted to go get on some of the rides, so we headed to Future World. So we got in, saw Mary Poppins, and Kevin wanted to take my picture with her, and I was like, no, that's okay. I'm not, like, 5 years old. I don't really need a picture of myself with Mary Poppins. And we stopped at one point because you could see Epcot, the ball, I forget what it's called. What is it called? Spaceship Earth. Yeah, that's what it's called. So I saw Spaceship Earth there, and I wanted a picture of myself in front of it, and so I'll show you guys the picture. But I swear, it looks like it's photoshopped. It looks like I'm standing in front of a green screen, and we've just taken a picture of Spaceship Earth and Epcot and pasted me in front of it. It's ridiculous, but it made me laugh because as soon as I looked at the picture, I was like, oh my god, this looks photoshopped. It looks totally fake. No one's gonna believe I was actually here. So yeah, that was kind of funny. We went on into Future World, and we went to the first ride, which was called Soarin', and stood in line for about 45 minutes for that one, I think. But it was worth it because we got in there and Kevin loved it. He was really, really glad that he came after he did the first ride. And basically you're in like a hang glider, and they have, you know, it's like several people. You're not actually in a hang glider, but it looks like a hang glider. And they lift you up and you're flying over California. So they've got like this big IMAX kind of screen in front of you, and you fly over all these different places. You fly over like a golf course, and somebody hits a golf ball and it like comes right at you, and you go through like all these pine trees and stuff, and they have this they have some kind of scent thing above you. So when you're going over the pine trees, they spray this scent of pines, so it's like you're actually going through the pine trees. And they do the same thing with the orange groves, so you smell like oranges and stuff. It was really cool. I liked it a lot, and Kevin liked it. So it was a good first experience. So since we were in the same building as this other ride called Living with the Land, we got on that one, and basically it was just a little water ride, and they take you through these, it's like hydroponics. So they're trying to grow different kinds of fruits and vegetables and stuff in hard to, like, conditions where it's hard for them to grow. So then we went to Spaceship Earth, because that is the big ball that you see at Epcot. When you see Epcot, that's it. And basically you go through it, and it's kind of like a, they say that you're on, like, that you're in a time machine, and it's like a tour through the ages of, like, communication. So there are like animatronic kind of things moving around and stuff. It wasn't really that wonderful, but there was one part, like at the very beginning when you're going up this steep slope, they take your picture and they say, you know, smile for your picture or whatever. So we made silly faces, and when you get to the end of the ride, they make you do this little quiz kind of thing, like how you want your future to be. Like, do you want to be living in space, or do you want to be living underwater? And you go through and you answer all these questions, and then they show you this little video. And they paste your head on the people. And we had these really weird faces, and it was so funny. We just sat there and just laughed the rest of the ride. But I think that I still have the picture somewhere, and if I can, I'm going to show you. Because Kevin's like making this really weird face. I think he's... I don't know what he's doing with his face, but it's really weird, and we were just both being silly because we were having fun. And it was really funny. I would recommend it just for that. Just make a crazy face and go on that ride. So next we decided we were going to go on the ride called Mission Space. And it's kind of like a mission to Mars type thing. And I have been known to get motion sickness. And they had two separate rides for that one. There was like the orange line and the green line. And the green line was kind of like, oh, if you get motion sickness, you might want to use this one because it's the easy route. And then the other was like the hardcore. So, of course, we walk up and Kevin immediately goes into the orange line. And I'm like, okay, you may be regretting that when I vomit all over you. But, yeah, so I was freaking out the whole time that we were standing in line waiting for this stupid ride. And yeah, it was the more intense line, I think is what it was called. And the whole way that you're in the line, they keep having like all these signs posted. If you get motion sickness, you don't want to be in the more intense line. If you want to get into the green line. And Kevin was like, don't be a baby. You're not going to get sick. Look at this. There are little kids that are in line for this ride, and they're not freaking out like you are. And I'm like, yeah, but those little kids don't have motion sickness, and I do. So we kind of like argued about it a little bit. And we got in there, and they give you like roles, and I was supposed to be the engineer, and each role has like they have a certain time when they're supposed to push a button, and I'm like, I'm never going to be able to do this. I'm going to be trying to hold in vomit. I'm going to be like puking everywhere. I'm not going to be able to actually perform my duties as an engineer in this ride. So we get in there and sit down, and right in front of me is a vomit bag. And I'm already freaking out, and there's that sitting there, and the girl who comes to like close the door is like, oh my gosh, somebody's playing a joke. And it just made it so much worse because I just knew I was going to get sick. But you know what? I didn't. It was an awesome ride. I would totally ride it again, like, right now, because it was so much fun. And yes, you go, like, you're, like, stuck back to, like, all the G-force is, like, sticking you back to your seat and everything. But, I don't know, and you're, like, kind of moving around, but I didn't get sick. So I guess my days of motion sickness are over. Thank you. So that means I can ride roller coasters again. I'm so excited. So actually, that was the ride that made me realize that I can ride roller coasters again, and not just regular roller coasters, but like ones that spin or ones that loop and stuff like that, and I don't have to worry about getting sick. So thank you, Disney World. Thank you, Mission Space. Yeah. Future World actually closes at a certain time, and it was getting kind of close to it, so we decided to just go ahead and go to the World Showcase and walk around and look at all of the different country parts of around the lagoon. So one of the first places that we stopped was Mexico, and they have a little tour there, a little ride called the Gran Fiesta Tour. And you're like, it's a water ride, and you ride along, and it's nothing like really special, but there are scenes and kind of, not really scenes, but there are like the characters from the Three Caballeros are in it. I can't remember the names of the characters, but I know Donald Duck is one of them. And so you go around, and Kevin was making fun of it because he was like, oh yes, this is an authentic Mexican experience. It wasn't, but yeah, it was kind of chill, you know, you just ride through. And since we were in Mexico, we got some margaritas because they did have margaritas, and you can drink inside the park. And they were having some kind of food and wine festival, I think is what it was called, in the World Showcase. So you could go get food from different places, and we stopped at the Singapore food truck kind of thing. I don't know what you would call it, but we stopped at the Singapore one and we got some food there. So I got like some kind of tilapia on rice with some kind of really tasty sauce. I can't remember what it was, but that was basically our dinner. We just ate that and had our margaritas and just walked around. It was really cool. So one of the things about the festival is that they had concerts every night, and so there would be like at certain times there would be a concert, and you could go watch whoever was playing that night. And while we were there, it was Wilson Phillips. Now, I used to listen to Wilson Phillips when I was younger. I had the cassette tape that had like Hold On and some of their other songs that they did. And we didn't sit and watch the concert, really. Kevin did make me take a picture of him in front of Wilson Phillips, so yeah, I don't know why, but it was funny. And while the concert was going, we decided to go into the American Adventure, and it was just a it had like audio animatronics of Mark Twain and Benjamin Franklin, and they were just kind of talking about America and all this stuff. It was really, really corny. It was kind of awful. And there was one part that I just cracked up and I couldn't stop laughing because the two audio animatronic characters are standing next to each other and they shake hands, but we were kind of close, so we could see that their hands weren't actually touching. So it was like this, and I can't do it with the other hand, but the hands were like just this far apart and moving, and cracked me up because you could totally tell that they weren't touching, and I don't know, it just made me laugh. It was really funny to me. So it could have been the margarita, I don't know. So yeah, it was pretty fun though. So after we got done with the American experience, it was about time for the fireworks show, because every night they do a fireworks show called Illuminations, and they have this big globe in the middle of the lagoon. And it's like a laser light show plus fireworks and everything. And so it would show scenes from different nations, like different countries and everything, different continents. It would just show it like around the world. And then there were fireworks, but they do it every night. And I thought that was pretty cool. And actually, I think from the hotel where we were staying, you could, if you were there like at 9 o'clock or whenever they did it, you could see the fireworks from our hotel. Not from our room, I don't think, but you could actually request one of the rooms where you could see it, but we didn't worry about that because we knew we were going to go see it live in person anyway, so it didn't really matter. So yeah, it was really pretty, it was really cool, and right after the fireworks, the park closes. So that's like 9:30 or something like that. So instead of taking the ferry back, we decided to take the boardwalk. So the boardwalk connects Epcot, of course, with our hotel and a couple of other little hotels. So we took the boardwalk, and they have a bunch of stuff. It's like shops, and you can get like food there. They have food vendors. They have drinks. They have a dance hall. They have all kinds of stuff there. But we didn't like do any dancing or anything. We just kind of sat on the boardwalk and had pina coladas and Mickey Mouse pretzels. Or actually a Mickey Mouse pretzel, because it was pretty big, but it's shaped like Mickey Mouse's head. And we both had pina coladas. And from where we were sitting, there's also a fireworks show that they do at the Magic Kingdom. So we could look off into the distance where the Magic Kingdom was, and you could see the fireworks show from there too. So we watched that one too from the boardwalk. And then we went back to our hotel and, went to bed. So that was our trip to Epcot. I guess I should probably, since I've been talking so long, I guess I should probably not say any more in this one and just do another vlog. Maybe I'll just do a vlog for each park that I went to. I don't know. That's kind of how I thought I might do it. But, yeah, we'll see. So next time I'll talk about Hollywood Studios, because that's where I went in day 2. Yeah. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Sit down. Lay down. Lay down. Yeah, there we go. Good boy. You're gonna lick your lips right next to the microphone so it'll pick it up. Yeah, that's what you're gonna do. And I have an eyelash in my eye, so I've got to go to the bathroom for a second.